Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Theater of Football. I am Mike Hodum, and I'm joined by Patrick Heinrich. Patrick, thanks for joining us.
Hey, Mike. Hey, everybody. It's good to be here. Thanks for having me again. You didn't have
Always
enough
welcome.
backlash last time to kick me off permanently, so.
That's right. Jeremy just didn't quite pull high enough to kick you off permanently. So we're gonna bring you back this time, but Jeremy will be back soon
It's
as
true.
well. Yes, lots to talk about, lots in the news. Very little about transfers for United. I don't even know if there's a transfer window going on if you just hashtag MUFC. But I want to start with some decent news. Dean Henderson signed a 5-year deal this week. He'll be making over £100,000 a week. Patrick, is this backup goalkeeper money?
Yes. Very simply, it's De Gea insurance is what it ends up being. So sometimes you got to pay that monthly or that weekly premium and I know that this weekly premium concept is foreign for everyone in the UK, but here in the United States, we all pay our premiums. But it's basically your premium for De Gea just in case.
Yes, the deductible must be £1. But yes, he's paying that premium.
And I think it's a good thing. I think that's great. I think we definitely need that. So I'm totally fine with it.
Is there a goalkeeping battle that's happening now, Patrick? Is Ole opening up the door, saying, Dean Henderson, you can come in and compete with David De Gea to be the number one?
Mm-hmm. Well, I think that part of the De Gea insurance that Dean Henderson is bringing is a competitive edge. We hope. So I think that, just like it's good to have healthy competition between your strikers, it's good to have healthy competition between your goalkeepers. I think it makes them better. And I know, Ole has said De Gea is the best in the world and he's not going anywhere. And that message is coming through loud and clear. I think, it's good to have someone in the back to keep pushing you just in case you fall back a little bit. They can push you forward. And perhaps that's what's going to happen.
Yeah, I agree with you. It's good to have competition for places everywhere in the squad. Unfortunately, I thought Sergio Romero was our best goalkeeper last year, and he got dropped for all 3 semifinals that we lost. He won 3 quarterfinals, but he didn't get a chance to win a semifinal. And that would have been De Gea kept making mistakes. It would have been nice to have seen Ole try and give Sergio a chance and foster that competition at that moment. But clearly, what does this mean for Sergio then? Where does his United career stand? Does he have one left?
Yeah, I think it's a pretty sticky wicket, to be honest. I get with bringing in Dean Henderson, you have an opportunity to bring in another very experienced goalkeeper to bolster the squad, but at the same time, there's some tough decisions that you have to make on how those pieces fit together. And I know it's really tough. Sometimes you could just get on the wrong side of that equation, and I think that's where Romero finds himself, for good or for bad.
Yeah, it's that. In a just world, it doesn't seem too fair on the player because can't really think of him setting a foot wrong in a United shirt. Been here 5 years, I believe, and never did much wrong. Had some really, really good games, but never got a chance to be the number one. And now he won't get that chance. It's looking likely. What's that?
I think he's going to get caught up in this other bit of churn that's going on too, in that if you could say one thing about the positions that we have available on the pitch, goalkeeper is probably the one where you'd say we have a relatively good start and we have phenomenal backups. So you can't say that about many other positions on the pitch right now. And I think where Romero is going to get caught in this churn is being put up to go somewhere else as a way to pull in someone else to bolster one of these other positions. Because if you have, a lot of money in pot A and you want to even it out across the field, you have to redistribute some of that a little bit.
Yeah, it's an excellent point. And you're talking about battle for places and strikers, but really the only place where you have depth and perhaps maybe Ole's not generating the competition like he should, but you have the quality there for there to be a competition.
Mm-hmm.
The one spot is goalkeeper.
Right.
Maybe you could look a little bit in the midfield, maybe a little bit with Shaw and Williams at left back, but there's really not a whole lot of competition in the squad for most of the positions. So at this point, I mean, Romero might be our most saleable asset because he has played so well for us. He's an Argentinian international. I think he has around 100 caps for his country.
Mm-hmm.
He's still, I believe, in his early 30s. So he's got plenty of years left as a goalkeeper. And it's unfortunate because I just see us kind of using him as a bargaining chip at this point. Either get maybe be able to bring in 15, 20 million for him, or as a kind of a make weight in a deal. Oh wait, we don't sign players anymore, so never mind.
What are you talking about?
I went off the rails. I don't know what I'm talking about. But yeah, it's unfortunate. I hate to see it because big fan of his. But that's kind of where he's been left. I doubt he would want to take up the Lee Grant role.
No, not even Lee Grant wants the Lee Grant role.
I don't know about that.
That's true.
I think Lee Grant is pretty cushy in the Lee Grant role.
That's subject to our next 20-minute video.
We'll debate that for an hour. But yeah, I mean it's unfortunate for Romero, but at this point it looks like it's going to be Henderson and De Gea battling it out, and we'll see what happens, won't we?
Yep.
I'd like to move on to a little bit of maybe a little sad news, bad news. Came out today that Paul Pogba is going to miss out on France's next two fixtures. It is an international break coming up next week.
Mm-hmm.
And he was due to be in the French squad, but he's had to be withdrawn because he tested positive for COVID-19. I read some comments from United fans saying that, good, he'll be rested for the start of the season. And I just kind of shook my head at that because, I mean, sometimes it is nice for players that play a lot of games and maybe they're often injury prone to miss out on a couple international break to play for their country. Might benefit the club, but in this case, we really don't know what's going to happen. As of filming this video, I don't think the player himself has released anything on like social media or anything like that, giving his status or anything like that. So we don't know how Paul's doing. We wish Paul well. We know he's a big fan of our show. But yeah, I mean, I don't think I think you read something like Paul Pogba not in France squad, and you get excited, or you get like, okay, that's good, and he's tested positive for this virus that's caused this pandemic, and I think you lose sight on what the virus has done. I mean, yeah, more at-risk people or elderly, but there's people our age, Paul's age, that have struggled with it. So, hopefully, best case, he'll be asymptomatic, but he's going to be quarantined for 2 weeks. Patrick, this isn't good news, is it?
No, it's not.
No.
I mean, like you said, we hope he's asymptomatic, but who knows what complications there could be. I mean, no one. I mean, the other thing is no one really knows sort of what the long-term implications could be. So, I mean, that's another case that we obviously don't know anything about. So I don't think it's a good thing. Plus, I don't think he's going to have to miss some practices. So that's not good either. So especially when the run up to the start of the season, you have to take advantage of all your opportunities to get practice in with the squad. Otherwise, you're going to be a little behind and you're going to be a little rusty coming out the gate, and that's not what we need at all.
Yeah. I'm disappointed just for Paul, not in Paul, but for Paul, because he like all of our players did really well, behaving themselves, doing what they were supposed to do, what the health professionals were telling us to do, social distance, stay at home, all that stuff during the lockdown.
During
And,
lockdown.
yeah, and but after we got knocked out by Sevilla, I didn't see anything of him. Like most of our British contingent went off to Greece. Aaron Wan-Bissaka went off to Dubai, and now he's going to have, when he comes back, he's going to have 14 days of self-quarantining period before he'll be allowed to rejoin the team for training. So he's going to miss 5 or 6 at least training sessions or training days. So that was probably not a bright decision on his part. But Paul didn't, from what I understood, Paul went back to England and hung around with his family.
Mm-hmm.
And supposedly we're getting set to work on a contract extension. Hopefully that can still happen.
Yeah.
I'm not saying it won't, but I'm disappointed because he seemed to have kept his nose fairly clean, took what was going on seriously.
Mm-hmm.
It just goes to show that you can take precautions. You can do what you're supposed to do in these times, what health professionals are telling you to do, and you can still catch it.
Yeah.
Just a warning out there for everyone. But I want to transition into transfers. And I'm going to start with Paul. And I'm not making light of the situation or looking to take advantage of what's going on necessarily. But in light of him being diagnosed, should we be looking at potentially reviving interest in Donny van de Beek or Jack Grealish, since the Sancho deal has apparently stalled? Should we look into midfield players to potentially come in quickly? And I don't know. What do you think, Patrick?
At this point, I think we should be looking at going down the street, paying some guy £100 to jump on the field for a little while. I mean, I think we need something to come in. I think we should definitely be looking at that. And if that has, obviously we're not privy to the inner workings of what goes on within the club, but if that isn't something that they're actively working on currently, I would be very happy if they would do that.
Yeah. Yep. I think Chelsea just nailed down their 6th player of the window. So yeah, we'll be lucky if we have 6 players by 2025.
Right.
But yeah, I mean, just in general, we need to do something.
Yeah, I mean, specifically in the midfield, I think it does highlight that again, is just another area that we need that increases the focus on the midfield. And there was already a focus there, I think, in my opinion. I think it just increases the focus by having Paul, have this, having to quarantine and coming down with COVID.
Yeah. Yeah, I just wonder, I guess, if it'll light a fire under the Glazers or Woodward's butts to finally get something done. Because I believe more creativity in midfield is an area that Ole has targeted and has told the board that he wants to bring in at least another player in that regard there. Mm-hmm. I want to talk about Jack Grealish, because there has been rumblings in the media that we are looking to revive interest, and we already talked about Sergio Romero, and one of the dealings is perhaps offering him as a make weight to sign Grealish with his hefty price tag. Villa do need a goalkeeper, but I hate treating a player who's been good and loyal that way. But it's a business, especially to Ed Woodward and the Glazers. So it is what it is. But I just wanted to bring up this Mason Greenwood in a bit of good news this week. Well, there's two bits of good news as far as call-ups go. Martial finally got called up by the French squad for the first time in who knows how long, like over 2 years or something. I don't know. Very long time. He had fallen out of favor of the national team manager, Didier Deschamps. And he's now back in favor, been called up. Don't know if he'll play, but at least he got a call up.
Yeah.
But Mason Greenwood got his first senior English call up. And when the English manager, Gareth Southgate, was asked about Greenwood, he basically said that it came down to Greenwood or Jack Grealish, and he chose Greenwood based upon his form at the end of the season after lockdown. So, Patrick, do you think that might cause Jack Grealish to think he might need to do something?
Yeah, I'll say. I mean, kudos to Mason Greenwood. I think that's a fantastic decision. I think he shocked us all with how awesome he came back after the break. So I think that's a phenomenal opportunity, and I think he'll do very well. And every team needs a nice injection of youth, so I think that would be great. But I definitely think that it, Jack Grealish, would cause me to think a little bit differently for sure, and make me pause. And one of the things that could, increase my standing potentially is coming to a larger club like Manchester United. So there's a possibility that would encourage him to make that decision.
Yeah, it's been long said that he's wanted to move to a club playing in the Champions League. He wanted to challenge himself with Champions League football. But now that it's looking like that's going to be very difficult for him to get even a look in for his national team side. I'm sure he desperately wants to play for England.
Yeah.
I just wonder if this might not encourage him. I know Villa's his boyhood club and all that, but at the end of the day, you have a career and you only have so much time to make the most of your career in football. So I wonder if he won't turn around and hand in a transfer request.
Mm-hmm.
I'm sure he'll take time to think it over. I wouldn't want him to rush into anything because Lord knows if he did rush into that, we know we're not going to rush into any deal to sign him.
That's right. 100%.
But if he does hand in a transfer request, that would, I would think, drive down Villa's negotiating position. They've stood firm that he's worth £80 million. Perhaps we can get them back down to the much mooted 40 to 50 million pound range that was talked about back in January, February.
Yeah.
If he hands in a transfer request. Now I know he might go down as a villain. No pun intended. With the Villa supporters if he hands in a transfer request. But I think even if you're a Villa supporter, you have to understand that he does love the club, but he has to do what's best for his career. And it seems like at this point, he's not going to get that at Villa. He's not going to get to play for England. I mean, he'll get Champions League football as well at United. He'll probably make some more money at United as well.
Yeah.
So, and the other thing is you just get noticed more to play for England because he'll have better players around him. There's really you look at the players around him at Villa and it's kind of like they don't make him look any better.
Yeah.
If anything, sometimes they drag him down. So if you go to United and he's playing with Bruno, and he's playing with Pogba, he's playing with Anthony, he's playing with Mason.
Yeah.
Suddenly he's going to look a lot better, or he should look a lot better in that collection of people. So,
yeah. I mean, to me, that's why the Romero for Grealish makes sense to me a little bit. It's again, like if you think about just in the perspective of people doing and making decisions or players making decisions on what is best for them. If Grealish came to United, he would, be able to play with a lot of other great players. He'd be able to play in Europe. And I think on the flip side, it's clear that through Ole's actions that I don't think Romero is going to see a lot of playtime at United, especially with Dean Henderson there. So, it makes sense to go to Villa, to be their number one. And you increase your standing. Essentially, you might go to Villa, leave a Manchester United to go to Villa, but at the same time, you're leaving, the number 3 spot to go to number 1 spot as the starting goalkeeper. So I can see a potential boost in career, maybe not, or maybe not salary or or pay, but there could be a potential boost to Romero and to Grealish for that transfer.
That's true. That's a good point. It does offer some value to Romero. I was just looking at it from the perspective that maybe he just doesn't want to go to Villa and he's just being forced to go. 'Cause I harken back to 2015 when we were going to sell De Gea to Real Madrid for, I don't know, 20 million plus. Oh gosh, who's that Costa Rican goalkeeper they had? I forget his name off the top of my head. But we were going to bring him in, and from all reports I heard was that kid had no desire to come to England.
Yeah,
and he was just kind of, when you get those and kind of trades involved. The thing with transfer fees is that you're actually paying to buy out that player's contract to allow the player to negotiate. We just use the phrase, buying that player as, short-term vernacular. But at the end of the day, that player can decide what he wants. And not that in a trade the player can't decide not to go, but there's a lot more pressure involved when there's another player involved, and then you have your club and the other club, and it seems to be in these situations it can be a little bit much, and I wouldn't want to wish that necessarily on Romero. But you are right, he might want it.
Yeah.
Another player who's surely to come to United here soon, we'll wrap up our show on, is Lionel Messi. All the rumblings I hear are saying that he's dead set on coming to Old Trafford. It looks like it's bang on going to happen. He does not want to go back and play for Pep Guardiola. He wants to rival him in the city of Manchester. Pep does not want to be known as a manager who can only challenge for a Champions League with Lionel Messi in his squad.
That's right.
No, it seems like Messi's bang on to go to City. Those two have a great relationship. I'm just hoping Jeremy's listening somewhere and heard what I had to say and maybe did a spit take.
I mean, I thought he was practically in the door at United.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Hang on. Just imagine the commercial and marketing possibilities. You sign Lionel Messi. No, but there's one funny thing I read today. Truth be told, if this fact is truth, at least, is that he makes 100 million pounds. I had to think about that. It's getting way too many digits in there. He supposedly makes 100 million pounds a year playing for Barcelona, and I guess the entire City squad makes just maybe 150 million pounds a year. So you'd be paying one player. You'd be increasing your payroll to 250 million pounds if assuming he signed the same. He might take a little bit of a pay cut. He probably would, to go play with Pep again and get out of Barcelona if that's indeed truly what his heart's set on and there's no political play involved with what he's doing. But you'd be looking at paying him 40% of your total team's payroll. Will that sit well in the dressing room, or will they just be like, well, he's Lionel Messi? I mean
at what point do you just realize that I want to go somewhere where I can have fun and play good football and be respected, and if you do that, I mean, how much money do you really need? I mean, if you take a pay cut to go play somewhere else, dropping down from 100 million to 75 million is still 75 million. I mean, it's a pretty significant amount of money to go somewhere and do something different. So, I mean, if he wanted to do it, I think he'll make it happen, and I think he'd be okay with the pay cut. But if I were a City fan, God help me, then I would definitely expect him to take a pay cut.
Yeah. I think the only way – I think it'll happen because I think he'll take a pay cut. But
Yeah,
I think the
exactly.
city board is looking at the financials and they understand the financial fair play situation that they just got themselves
That's
into.
true.
And a transfer like this, even if he can buy out his contract for free, which
Yeah.
has been reported, might go to court. Not going to get into that again, but even if he's free, his wages alone are going to be crazy, and that's just going to bring in attention of UEFA again. And UEFA is probably not going to be too happy that Messi's going to leave Barcelona, a fabled club, to go play for City, a club that came along a decade ago, basically. I mean, sorry, City fans, but you weren't really on the scene until 2009. Um, so City's going to come, sniffing around the chicken coop, and so the only way the board, I think, at City, the sheik from Abu Dhabi, the only way I think he'll be fully on board is if Lionel does indeed take some sort of pay cut. It doesn't necessarily, like you said, 75 million instead of 100 million.
Right.
He's still going to be the highest paid player on the team by far.
Yeah.
But
It,
yeah,
it,
I mean,
if I were him, I'd be like, just give me the highest, double my salary compared to everybody else's, and then if in the next 5 years you bring someone in that makes more than me, then just bump my salary up to his salary, or my wages up to his wages. That's what I would do.
I kind of feel like that's the arrangement he's had at Barcelona for a decade.
Yeah, that's true.
Bring in Neymar, okay, you bump up my salary. You bring in Luis Suarez, okay, you bump up my salary.
That's right. Exactly.
Yeah. So that's interesting. It'll be interesting to see how City swing it. I'm sure they will somehow, but I guess PSG is also interested. I don't think United's actually interested.
Yeah.
I'm sure. I think PSG is also interested. I'm sure Antonio Conte at Inter would love to be interested, but he'll probably end up signing Jesse Lingard on the last day of the transfer window on a free.
Yeah, I was gonna say Messi has to play with Manchester United before Conte is interested in Messi.
That's right. Oh, sorry, my bad.
He has to come to United first, and then Conte will want him.
Yes. Good point. I stand corrected.
I'm waiting for the Lingard Smalling double up.
Yes, Lingard Smalling or Lingard Jones.
Love it.
But we'd probably end up paying the players to go to Inter Milan and not getting anything from Inter at all. It would end up being another farce. But that curtain, thank you, Patrick, for joining me. The curtain's now closing on the theater of football. Once again, we'd like to congratulate Anthony and Mason for their long-awaited call up. Anthony's case, just many years had passed, or a few years had passed, and Mason his first call up. So congratulations to them, and we wish Paul Pogba well. Hopefully, he can make a quick and speedy recovery.
Yep.
But with the curtain closing for Patrick, I'm Mike. Thank you for watching or listening, depending upon your platform, and hit us up on Twitter at Theater of Football with your takes on the topics today. Patrick, anything you'd like to say?
Nope. See you, everybody.
Man, a few words, unlike you.
Exactly.
Take care, everyone.
All right. Cheers.
Oh, hello. Thank you for watching the Theater of Football. If you think Mike got it wrong yet again, please leave your thoughts in the comment section below.